We're talking briefly on a topic I termed extreme morality. So, before I progress on the topic, let's quickly look at what morality is. Morality refers to a set of principles or values that guide our behavior, decision making. It encompasses concepts such as fairness, justice, compassion, and responsibility. Morality is often shaped by cultural, psychological, and personal beliefs, and it varies across different society and community. There is no universal definition of morality. It generally involves evaluating actions, character traits using criteria that differ from person to person and culture to culture. That's according to Britannica. So basically, if you look at morality, is basically simply explained as set of principles or values that guide our behavior, that guide how we relate with each other, how we make decisions personally or as a society. And sometimes it speaks to, it goes a long way to inform our constitution too. For example, a lot of people will be surprised that at a point between 1920 and 1933 in the US, they have what today, if such similar law is passed in Nigeria today, what you would have called a Sharia law. There was a law, a clause in the American Constitution that bans drinking of alcohol. What it means is that it's it's a criminal offense for you to drink alcohol, as in just like it's try to be states in some states in Nigeria like Kano, like Sanfara, try to enforce it, make it a taboo for you to drink alcohol. So in US, the whole of US, it was enshrined in their constitution that you cannot drink alcohol. They were so strong about it that I think at that point, alcohol was like an ingredient in some of the things that are being produced. So it's not really for individual consumption. It is needed for production. So what happened is that the law enforced that all alcohol produced for such use should be poisoned. You understand? It has to be poisoned. That means so that to stop people from drinking, as a using excuse as okay, ordinarily alcohol has to be produced because of it was needed in some productivity, in some manufacturing tax. So the law of the US of United States of America, not Saudi Arabia, now said for those alcohols that are meant for factories, for industries, some poison should be added to prevent people. But at some point, they now discovered that people were still taking those alcohol. That's why being poisoned. Maybe some of them were ignorant. Maybe they were not aware of the law. People were dying as a result because they were fatal poisons. And some people were still insisting that even though people were dying, and that took more than over 13 years, that even though some people died because they took those alcohol that be poison, that, that they are still justifying the process that those alcohol they must continue to poison it to prevent people from even taking it at all. And people were dying. And such uprightly moral people were not bothered. So, and this tell us that sometimes, like the point I'm trying to bring out is that morality sometimes can informs our even the constitution of nations. It informs. If you look at the world generally now, you see that at some point things like homosexuality, up to today, in some countries are considered as a taboo as something. But even you see that in Western world, it's becoming a norm. People openly, there is a guy that was contesting to be uh, president of the US with Donald Trump. When I think the last one that Donald Trump contested, I think if, okay, I think It was the other time, yes. Yes, now. Yes, the one that second time, the initial second time attempt of Donald Trump after a first time. The guy was actually defeated in the primaries. I can't remember his name now. He was defeated. It was an openly he's a gay. He's a gay. He's a guy, well accomplished guy. Yeah, I think he was governor or mayor of a state of a state in the U.S. And he did so well. Well, we made the attempt to become the president of the United States. Unfortunately, he was defeated in the primaries by Joe Biden. That was how Joe Biden did this. Is the only time he did as president of the U.S. So, to a great extent, even a lot of other things that are now that would have been considered taboo several years ago that are now allowed. I've just told you that in United States of America some years ago, it was okay. Not it was a taboo to drink alcohol, just like you have in Sharia law now. So, and that's point us to the fact that there are a lot of things that some people, and this speaks to greatly. My focus really is in our politics. There are people that have a kind of notion that we live in a perfect society. By that, I believe what they are tilting towards is what I called extreme moralism. Sometimes it's called morality extremism or moral extremism. So what that implies is that some people, when they form an opinion about what a nation should look like, or what, for example, what politics should look like. For example, when you look at certain people, maybe you are looking at obedience, you are looking at other supporters. When they come to the conclusion that this is what is expected, this is they tend to impose that mindset on everybody without really being considerate. You understand? Without really being considerate that in sometimes in life there should be room for compromise. I'm not I'm not really giving trying to give excuse for corruption because that's also an extreme. I'm not trying to give room for corruption, but what I'm trying to say, there are some, and that's why to a great extent every human should be guided by constitution or laws. Uh, when what you are doing is not really outside the law, I think the level of condemnation at least should be relative. You understand what I'm trying to say? Because if you are looking at a country like Nigeria, by the time you look at the word corruption, everybody can come up and say this person is corrupt. But there has never been any established case that has called the person corruption. You can come up, but it doesn't mean that the person is corrupt. At least to a great extent as far as the law. So to a great extent, so in that situation, I expect people to give benefit of doubt. When people have not really broken the law, I think there should be some benefit of doubt. There should be some level of tolerance because extreme morality is dangerous for a people. It's dangerous for a people. And these are the kind of things that sometimes that lead to what we call jungle justice. And that's why you see, to a great extent in Nigeria, things like Boko Haram, ideology like Boko Haram are thriving. Ideology like Sharia are thriving. Some people have what extreme morality extreme. They are morally extreme, so they tend to impose their own personal convictions or the way they feel life should be lived, and they want to forcefully, especially when it's actually against the law. Because you don't drink alcohol, and somebody likes drinking alcohol, you don't have the right to impose. You understand what I'm saying? Like a party conducts a primary election, and somebody comes out and say he won the primary election without results. And some people will go about saying, yes, he won without results. So some of these things, if you understand how it works in life, some of these people are actually sponsored. It doesn't mean they are not aware that some of the things they are promoting are lies. I'm not saying in all cases all these things are like. There are times that these things are not lies. They may be actually the truth. But what I'm trying to say, we should learn to give ourselves benefit of doubt. For example, you see uh, a group of people that are supportive of Mr. Peter Obi, called obedience. There are a lot of time they commit what I call moral extremism. Why? You've seen an article of news, you don't know who is behind the news. Probably sponsored by fifth columnist, and you lash onto it, you criticize, castigate, Obi did that, Obi, yeah, should have done this, you should have supported. At the end of the day, after some time, you see some of these news coming up. Like now, two candidates that has been reviewed. Some people have gone around with the news that Obi was not did not protect his people in NDC, Nigeria Democratic Club. It has been reviewed that, for example, someone like Aisha Yusuf was offered other alternatives. I'm not saying those processes may not really be justified, but whether we like it or not, the world is not a perfect place. Especially when you have not broken the law. There's another guy, I've forgotten his name online. He took came up and said he was offered. He was shouting, this or nothing. But it came out, the news came out that he was offered an option to maybe go for House of Assembly. He felt no. In fairness, I would not go for House of because certain areas in my locality are the ones that it's their turn to produce. So if I go, I may not be able to make an entry. So, but most of these people never came out with such informations that there was some level of compromise. That this person is not really this person's fault. This person at least tried. Though he has some restriction, but at least he tried so that there will be a kind of back. So what I'm trying to say is that I'm just trying to prick our conscience as Nigerians, as humans, that there are times we have to really, before we jump into certain conclusions, we should be bothered enough to hear the other side. Allow the other side that is being accused to to defend themselves. Hear the other side before you conclude. Like I think this morning or yesterday, I don't know when the news came out. Victor Ume came out and said that the other guy, Holly, came on Arise TV. They asked him, he said he doesn't, he asked for only about one or two local, and I think the primary election was done in 7 local government. And today, the guy he was accusing of using talk, he said he asked for the 7 local governments. That I even have a copy that has been certified by INEC, by police. I mean, not, I was not part of that, but at least the person that is laying claim to that position, I say he even had the right of first refusal, which is some of these conditions are normal in the law of political parties, especially younger, even the more established one like APC. Some of these things are just part of operational processes in all these institutions. So he said, Victor Omeke, he said he has all the results, and I think he shared it with AIT. I'm not sure whether they displayed Arise News. I'm not sure whether they display those information. So we should like allow, because some of the tensions we are creating, and as much as I think we should be passionate about our country, but some of these tensions we are creating are not quite okay. We should allow to the other side to hear the other view of the whole thing. Dixon is this, Dixon is that. I'm not saying Dixon is a perfect guy. I'm not saying, but we should understand that a lot of agenda going on in the political space in Nigeria now. So you should give people benefit of that for them to, before you jump to certain conclusions. A lot of things are being sponsored. Like I've said before, most Nigerians now are content creators, just like I'm doing. A lot. It doesn't mean that whatever I'm saying now is absolute truth. So we should even it goes into religion. For the fact that it's written in the Bible or said by a pastor does not make it absolute. Reason it out. It may be your own truth, but before you start using it to judge other people, try and reason it out. There are so many things, like I told you now, drinking alcohol in US was criminal at some point in the past, but today people are drinking to stupor in America. So you can say at some point America practice Sharia, and America has refined itself and has moved on. If Saudi Arabia is still insisting on Sharia at this age, probably one day Saudi Arabia may move on. So we should balance it, and doesn't mean that because you don't like alcohol, you now insist that everybody must not like alcohol. So all this moral extremism, we need to really create a form of balance. So so I hope one or two people will learn from this so that we can have a better country. Thank you.